Yeah.
Welcome
Feeling the
back,
vibe
guys.
right
Did you
here.
miss us? Did anyone notice? Did anyone notice that we took a week off to breathe? What's up, friends? Juan's here, Sean's here. Welcome back, friends.
Awesome. Well, I came back from my vacation. I was visiting Italy, Rome, the Amalfi Coast, Florence. So I am definitely back excited, and I can't wait because I feel like I graduated to Mr. Him after the experiences I went through. It was great.
Yeah, this guy's over here traveling like he gets a travel stipend for every time he breathes air, Sean.
Right, exactly, man. I love it though, but he deserves it.
Yeah. Tell me about
He
you. Are
deserves
you
it.
starting a travel channel as well, Juan?
Yes, I do have a travel channel on YouTube. It's at KJ Travels 14. So we have a multi-episode series on our trip to Italy. So you'll be able to actually access it now. We have a new episode every Wednesday at 3:00. So tune in. I'll have a new episode this Wednesday.
Guys, plug into Juan's travel channel. Sean, this guy was flying business class to Europe. Like, that's how you do it.
Man,
That's how you do
that's
it.
exactly
Because
how
you
you
know
do
what,
it.
Juan?
That's
You know
what's
what?
up.
All jokes aside, because we're all going to die. So you may as well have some great experiences on the way out.
Absolutely.
Exactly. I
You
agree.
Friends, today's episode, we're going to talk about the WNBA and their search for the woman in charge, the HWIC. Because that's what the WNBA is looking for. And listen, Sean, I've said this. Once that CBA came through, the collective bargaining agreement for the women, and they started making more money, did I not say, call me a liar, did I not say that people were going to pay more attention?
You're absolutely right. With more money, like Biggie said, more problems, right?
More money, more problems.
That's exactly
Juan,
right.
I said it. I said they're going to start making millions of dollars, and the media is going to start paying more attention because the more money, as Sean brilliantly said, more problems. So, guys, the WNBA finds itself in the midst of its search for the face of the league. Caitlin Clark has been pasted on us as the face of the WNBA, even though our girl from Las Vegas has been absolutely killing. What's her name again, Sean?
Asia Wilson.
Asia Wilson. I'm sorry. Asia Wilson's
Yes.
absolutely been killing it, and she technically could be seen as the face of the league. But the WNBA wanted this Caitlin Clark look to really be the face of the league. And then lo and behold, here comes Olivia Miles out of nowhere, where none of us thought that Olivia Miles was going to be this impactful for her first rookie season. I'll go to you first, Juan. The WNBA wants the face of the league, but it has to be organic. What do you think about these two players vying for all of our attention?
Well, right now, Olivia Miles is just killing the scene. I didn't see this coming. I knew how talented she is in college, but I didn't see this. And they have the Lynx on a serious path to the title. I mean, lock up the Rookie of the Year. She's going to get it. Face of the league, I don't know. I mean, it's very difficult. You know, obviously, there were certain instances. You had your LeBrons as they came into the league. You know, immediately they had eyeballs on him. Olivia Miles, we'll see how that transpires. But right now, it's like there is a lot of talented WNBA players, but there haven't been that one that they've grasped. They try to push Caitlin Clark, and that's kind of like faded. There's been some things going on there, and for whatever reason, the league isn't really putting the resources or the exposure necessary to push Caitlin Clark forward as comparison to maybe some other names that could be coming down the pike a little later.
I'm sure Sean's going to have something to say about this.
Yeah. Juan said it brilliantly. I think the W has to not try to push one person. I think they did that because of with Caitlin Clark coming in and all the fanfare and all the fans she's bringing in. They wanted to make her the face. But if we go to the NBA, which we're all familiar with, they had many faces. I mean, if we go back to the 80s, it was Magic and Bird, of course.
Yeah.
But then you still had Dr. J was in there. You know what I'm saying? They had other players back then. Dominique Wilkins back in the 80s, and then you got fast forward Michael Jordan, but you still had Barkley. You had Patrick Ewing. You had Reggie Miller. So even though you had maybe the main face of the league, but they were faces, and so they promoted all of those players, and then all those matchups were big time, must see TV. So I think the W has to do that. Really has to promote it. There's not really just one. I mean, right now Olivia's got our attention. She's phenomenal. I watched the game yesterday, and she is an absolute problem. And she's going to get some MVP votes. She may even win MVP and Rookie of the Year, which was only done once before by Candace Parker. Yep. So she's phenomenal. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really interesting thing to watch in that we're all old enough to understand how businesses work, especially sports. Sports want the most squeaky clean, visible, punctual, and a person who can actually speak the language of many to be the face of a league. And I have to give Caitlin Clark her flowers. I think she's done all she can do within her own powers to be the best player she can be and to carry the torch of her fans. Her fan base isn't always the best. We'll get into that at the end of the segment. But looking at what is happening, she's not the best player in the league. She's probably not even in the top 10 best players in the league. Every night, there's another player who I see absolutely go nuts. I just was talking to Sean about Sonia Citron from the Mystics, who every night she's out there just doing wild stuff. That's not even Olivia Miles. And then you look at Olivia Miles. Friends, let me introduce you to her stat line because I think you're going to dig this. Olivia Miles this year is averaging 20 PPG on 50% shooting and shooting a hair under 39% from three as a rookie. Caitlin Clark, on the other hand, 21 points a game, 44% field goals, 35% from three. And then if you add win rate, Minnesota has a huge win rate every time she plays. Juan, we look at the numbers, and the numbers are telling a different story from what media is. Sorry to ask you this question. Does the WNBA have a race issue?
The issue for the WNBA, I don't think it's a race issue. It's just a matter of the WNBA knowing how to market their players. I think they're trying to use the same philosophy that the NBA does, that it's a players' league, and you could kind of do that, but you got to package a couple players together, in my opinion, in order to promote the league. It's not only Caitlin Clark. It's not only Olivia Miles. Asia Will, you got to put them all together. And in the past, Nike had a lot of influence in the commercialization of a league. You saw the Michael Jordan commercials. You saw the Charles Barkley commercials with those messages. Nike needs to get back to that. And I think that with Nike's help, there could be better exposure for a lot of the players to get, together as a package to possibly promote the league even better. It's growing. It's continued to grow. Remember, there are kids in college right now that are going to be in the WNBA in the next few years that are going to be even better. So they need to take advantage of that.
Yeah. Sean, I'm going to drop this on you. Does the WNBA have a race issue?
I would say they would. They don't have a race issue. I think they're really just trying to ride the coattails of Caitlin Clark's success from college and the eyeballs that she brought. So they're really trying to maximize that. So I wouldn't say it's a race issue. But to Juan's point, I think they need to promote. There's more than just one face. The great Kareem Abdul-Jabbar even said that. It's like, why does it have to be one face? It's multiple faces. There's all these different faces of the league. And if they promote it that way, and like Juan said again, to his point, Nike has to do that. They've got a lot of Nike athletes. So I think Reebok could do that because, Shaq with him and Angel Reese and with her having her own Barbie, you can promote that from the Reebok side. Adidas, they have a lot of athletes. The point guard, Chelsea Gray, she's got her own signature shoe or at least a player edition. So there's so many different players in their league. I mean, Puma, Breonna Stewart is Puma and Jackie Young. So you can, these shoe companies can
Sabrina Iescu's shoe is one of the most popular shoes, men and women.
Yeah.
I wear that shoe, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So they need to, I think the shoe companies need to really get with the WNBA and push faces instead of just a face. So I would say to your question, it's not a race issue. I think it's a promotion issue. I think they're just, the WNBA doesn't really know what they have, in terms of their players. They don't know what they have. They've got the players. The league was going to move forward without Caitlin Clark if she didn't come to this league.
Right.
Maybe not as fast as it has, but it was going to move forward. And now you've got these young ladies in college, two names that I can't wait till they get there. Juju Watkins and Hannah Hidalgo. I can't wait till they get there.
Yeah.
I can't wait. And then one more thing too. What really gets me too is just the WNBA is not really promoting Caitlin's teammate. She's the better player.
Yep.
Kelsey Mitchell is the leading scorer on that team.
Yep.
And she is a problem. Like every time I am, as a basketball fan, and we know basketball, I'm more scared of Kelsey Mitchell when she's on the floor than I am of Caitlin Clark, and that's facts. So you could take Caitlin out of the game, and Kelsey's in the game. I'm scared. When Kelsey's out of the game, I'm great.
Yeah.
So that's how I am as an Aces fan. So
Yeah, Sean, I actually disagree with both of you. I think
okay.
I think the WNBA does have a race issue. And I think the WNBA has a race issue because America has a race issue. We look at what the Portland Fire did with cutting all the black girls. Looked really weird. Looked really weird that your whole starting five's white. But okay, they can ball. We look at traditionally the white players have better marketing potential than the black players that we're looking at right now. And that's not to say that the WNBA is inherently racist, because it's not. But when you look at marketing dollars and where the marketing dollars go to, they generally go to straight white females. And that's a marketing choice. So that's where the marketing dollars go. It isn't until a woman like Paige Becker stands up and is like, yo, what about my sisters? Because she's like that. I think you make a great point, Sean. The WNBA doesn't quite know what it has yet. And still, they're still growing like wildfire. So when we look at what a Caitlin Clark has done, and now under the umbrella, all of these other girls coming forward, you're going to see even larger leaps and bounds towards success and marketing. You know what I'm saying, Juan?
It's understandable, because what attaches Caitlin Clark to a lot of the fan base that follows her is that she's straight and she's white. And I understand that. You're right. Because if this woman was not straight and she was gay, I don't think they would have the same type of fan base, as the fan base she has. But I give her a lot of credit. The way she has managed this whole thing, she's done the best she can. Look, it's everybody else that's trying to push her into certain narratives. Yes, she's made some controversial decisions, and a lot of the things she has done that has been, publicized. But the reality is, when she came into the WNBA, that's where the boost happened. She carried the college fandom into the WNBA and got the boost, which led to the great CBA negotiation and agreement that got them moving forward. So she has a lot to do with that.
Let me jump in right there, because that's brilliant what you just said. Her arrival springboarded into the W, and she took her fan base with her. It's no secret. She's a straight white female, and that appeals to a certain amount of people in the Midwest. The ability for her to translate her fan base is really the impressive part, because a lot of people have not been able to transmit that fan base into the pro league. Okay. The problem is sometimes you have to be careful about who your fan base becomes. And I agree with you, Juan. Caitlin's done a fantastic job of doing the best she can as a 23, 24-year-old woman. She's
24-year-old.
Yep. At 24, the decisions I was making were wholly awful. Like Sean can attest to this. At 24, I was an absolute nightmare. Yes. So she's doing the best she can, but these things are happening around her. Like, she didn't ask for this. She's just playing her game. But I would say you have to be aware of the people who are chanting your name if you don't agree with how they believe, Sean.
Yeah, and I would agree. It's just she has to toe the line though, because it at the end of the day, players want their brands to be profitable. She's already come into the W. She's helped the W. She springboarded them to become even more profitable than what they were. Even though a lot of people say they're not profitable, we know you can't be around 30 years and not be profitable. I'm just saying that's just business sense. But anyway, but she has to toe the line. So it's tough. We want her to speak up and say, hey, if you represent this type of fandom and you're a racist or you believe in these certain values, I don't want you to support me. She can't say that, unfortunately for her. And it's hard for a 24-year-old. Now, if she was 30 and and understood who she was a little more, then maybe she could speak up. But we can't expect her to do that. So, I still don't think it's as much of a race issue, in my opinion. Just to give you a rebuttal, Saif, it's more of her fans and how they are, and then how the WNBA is kind of turning a blind eye to really promote her to keep those fans. I think it's more so that, not more so like the WNBA has a race issue.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
I hear what you're saying. When I say they have a race issue, I don't say specifically, I mean America has a race issue, and the WNBA is in America. So by default, they're dealing with a race issue, because we all do, I was watching a video earlier today where this young brother was at the store trying to grab Similac for his kid, and he kept hitting the button because it's behind a wall, the mirror or whatever, the window, and he couldn't get it. And then he's like, oh yeah, that's right, I'm black. And he starts trying to act like he's trying to steal it. And then the security guard comes right away. He's like, oh, so you're here. Great. I need somebody to help me so I can purchase it. It's those type of things that make it really obvious that you have to be aware of what that does in race issues in America, because it's all part of America, Juan.
It is, and this is where probably the root of why the WNBA doesn't know what it has. It's trying to promote a player that, I don't know, I mean, it's towing the line, right? So it's got to be good with the fan base that obviously hardcore, that know and love the WNBA, and then the new fan that is adopted the NBA, and then also the fans that are quote unquote MAGA fans that are also fans of Caitlin Clark, that try to latch onto her as being some kind of whatever they perceive
White
her to
hope.
be. Yeah, exactly. Right. And the problem is the WNBA doesn't know how to handle that. How do you handle this player that probably is on the fence on a lot of things? You kind of don't know. And what is the best case scenario that the WNBA can come out good in all this without getting questions? Yeah. Remember, she's getting questions at press conferences about social issues rather than the basketball game sometimes.
It's wild.
Yeah,
which is wild.
But this doesn't happen, this doesn't happen anywhere else. The media also has a participation in this. They're asking the questions. They're asking the questions. They're sending these reporters to ask these gotcha questions to these players to get them caught in something. And they got to be careful. This is going to turn into roller derby if they're not careful.
I agree with you. I mean, we all saw, Cunningham get, clotheslined the other night. And immediately it turns into a race issue. And I'm like, why can't it just be a hard foul? Why can't it just be, I don't like you, so I'm going to take you out the air? Because at least that's the way we took it, Sean.
Yeah, well, that's the tone. That like I said, it's the narrative that the media, they have a strong role in that. So they push it a certain way. They have their great white hope and Caitlin Clark, if you will, and so they push that narrative, and then you get Sophie Cunningham, who comes over to Indiana from Phoenix as her protector and enforcer. Yep. So now she adopts those fans. So now those fans get, now they're fans of Sophie Cunningham. And then so if someone like Dejanay Carrington, who I know, I've followed her career since she was at Stanford and at Baylor, and she's a ball player. She plays hard. She's very physical, plays tough defense, and it was just a hard foul. But, in this day and age, when we're in this racial climate and this racist society that we live in, you're gonna get that, and then Dejanay failed it. She played into it as well, Yeah. And when she tweeted right after,
that was in bad taste.
She tweeted white privilege.
Yeah, it's bad.
That's a bad
It's
look.
Very bad taste.
Yeah.
But I mean, but we got to understand these are human beings, not just athletes. They're human beings, and so you get emotional, and so you feel a certain way. Everything is viewed a certain way, and everybody has different lenses, and so I give her a pass on that. But it was in poor taste. But that's what we live in. So the WNBA's got to really look at this and really, kind of curtail this. I think the commissioner Kathy Engelbert. I think
Yep.
she's probably not going to be with them in the this next year because I think it's just too much for her. They need somebody who
lot.
knows how to handle this because
Yeah.
she's not doing a good job of it. So
Yeah, it's a lot to manage, Sean. Because
yeah.
there's players, there's fan base, there's advertisers, there's networks. You have to appease all of these units, especially when you're running a league. And look, I don't think there's anything wrong with getting clotheslined. That's part of the game. To make it a
Part of the
race
game,
issue is beyond my scope. It's like, yo, you got clotheslined, and like
Yeah.
that's all it is. Get up and go play, or clothesline her back.
Right.
Like, this is ball, Juan. This isn't some specific special scenario where someone has to be protected.
Right.
It's because of the characters involved. It's Sophie Cunningham. We already know what her stance is on transgender, people playing with women. She's already been openly, she had an open opinion on that. There are people that support that with her. So when you see something like this, the optics is, okay, is there something more to just a hard foul? Are they attacking her? And then what the media does, the conservative media does, they're going to blow it up and make it into some kind of a race bait issue. So that's what this really is. If I'm telling you, if Carrington was not black, well, are we talking about this? I mean, come on.
It's a fact.
I mean, what are we
absolutely right,
doing?
Ron. It's
What
a
are we
fact.
talking
We're
about?
not- yeah.
It
Makes no sense. Yeah. You're
You're
right.
probably right. We wouldn't even be talking about it. But I think it was I can't remember, someone from ESPN was saying this. Was like, how many of these people that are watching WNBA basketball are actually basketball fans? Like, I know I am. I know Sean, Juan. I know we're sports fans. So when we watch the game, I'm like, yo, that's a nice play. Or like, oh my God, like Olivia Miles is diming people out. Like, I can't believe that side step three is so nasty. Or are you just looking for somebody to get hit over the head, Sean? Like it's roller derby. If you want to watch roller derby, go watch that.
Yeah, and so I totally agree with that. And so the W, putting it back on them, they've got to be careful because here's the thing: basketball purists like myself and you, and I know Juan enjoys the game as well. We want to see basketball. We don't want to see the spectacle that is, this racist undertone and this craziness because the W, although they're catering to those racist fans, if you will, the purists, you're going to lose us. And we're the ones that have been there since 97 when the league came in, and we just wanted to watch women play basketball. And so you don't want to lose us because that's your foundation. But there's a certain, area of America that believes if we go away, the league will still survive. And I disagree. I think you have to understand that, maybe both sides, maybe that side is a necessary evil to keep pushing the game forward. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but it's got to be better than what's happening now.
Yeah, and to my earlier point of it being a race issue in the league, it really isn't, because the Sabrina Iescu's exist and the Paige Beckers exist, and a lot of other white players who got it out the mud in the W. So it's not that. I think a lot of it now is the media attention that's being paid to it because the media is now hyperbolic and they press issues. Like, there's no reason we should have ever been even talking about trans women in the WNBA because it's a non-issue.
Exactly.
It's like if we start talking about how expensive Ferrari oil changes are. It's a non-issue to none of us own a Ferrari. So why are we talking about it? It's absurd, Juan.
Oh, it's definitely absurd. Do you understand that people raise an issue that nobody even paid attention to? And all of a sudden they make it bigger. Like there's other issues in this country than we're worried about the 3 to 5% of this matter.
Less than 1%.
And then especially,
Less than
and yeah,
1%.
and then
Less
and
than
then in the
1%,
WNBA, it doesn't really exist. It doesn't exist. I don't understand. Like, we don't talk about how well these women are playing. Man, that game last week between Indiana and Minnesota, man, I saw some footwork, man. I didn't know Aaliyah Boston had those moves. That double move, I'm just telling you, the skill on these players have just been so much better every year. And instead, we're talking about issues that have nothing to do with the WNBA. And that's where they get caught in this problem. They get caught in this web. Like, it's like they want to hold them to be like NASCAR or something. It doesn't have to be that way.
It doesn't have to be that way. No. Guys, before we get out of here, Minnesota's absolutely killing it. Do they have what it takes to win it all this year? I'll start with you, Sean.
Oh, absolutely. I was talking to my wife and I said, I said, that's the only team that I would, as a big Aces fan, that's the only team that I would be happy if they beat us, because they are that good. They are loaded. And it's just, and they've got, I mean, literally, if you look at their starting lineup, Olivia Miles, Rookie of the Year, MVP candidate. You got Nafisa Collier, who just got back after she's only played 6 or 7 games.
Yeah.
If she doesn't get hurt last year, she's MVP.
Yeah.
And they probably win last year without Olivia Miles. And then you've got Natasha Howard, which nobody's talking about, and she's probably going to win Defensive Player of the Year. And that's just those three. And then you got Courtney Williams, who's a bucket. You've got all of these players, and we're not even talking about Kayla McBride, who could shoot the lights out. She's close to being like 50, 40, 90, something stupid. So these are the players that they got on the team. So they're totally stacked. They could absolutely win it, and I wouldn't be surprised, and I wouldn't be too unhappy as an Aces fan if they did win it.
Juan?
Yeah, I strongly believe the Lynx can win it. If they win it, I'll tell you what, though. I'm not going to say that they're better than any of those 4 championship title teams that they had, but they can play right with them. They can play right with them because they just they cover every angle very well. And I think there's only maybe 2 teams that could stop them. Maybe the Aces and maybe the Liberty. And that's it. I just don't see any other team that can play with this team. The Lynx, I still wondering how they ended up with the number 2 pick, which I can't believe. This team is that talented, and they added Olivia Miles?
Well, I don't think anyone knew Olivia Miles was going to be this. They knew she was going to be good. They didn't know she was going to be transcendent. I will say that watching Minnesota, their biggest issue is defensively. And when I say biggest issue, I mean that's the only issue they have, is sometimes they have lapses in defense. Because offensively, when they're clicking, cancel Christmas. Because Olivia's pushing, there are other guards pushing for her mid-range jump shots. Nafisa's, screen rolling and screen flaring. I'm just like, y'all can't do anything. So if they actually lock up, just give them the title because it'll be theirs. Guys, another episode of Beat the Best Podcast in the books. Share this with your friends. Share it with your enemies. Share it with your frenemies. Check us out on social media. Check out the clips. A lot of y'all just watch the clips but never watch the whole thing, and that's okay. For Juan, for Sean, we will catch you on the flip side.